he was everywhere.
Raiders are looking pass. Intercepted by Martin. Some hard hitting. It looked for a moment he was about to lose the football. Rod Martin spearheaded the defensive charge. Leroy Harris. Rod Martin makes the tackle.
He had 3 interceptions. He played as good a Super Bowl as any defender has ever played.
Back is Jaworski. Sets up really deep. Now comes up the middle. Picked off. Rod Martin the third time to lose. And Rod Martin once again slams the door in the face of the man they call Jaws. A sort of fitting symbol. Silver and black football is king of the hill in the National Football League.
Wow.
Thank you, Jaws. Thank you, Jaws.
Yeah. Take us back to that day. Take us back to that day. How was it, man?
It was great. It was very great. I had my teammates behind me the second time, and then they came up. We all went out, and Jaws was out there along with some of the team, flipping some of the other players, and we just knocked them out. And then we got the guys from Jaws, and it was great, man. I loved it. I loved it. What a great team.
Unbelievable.
Though this gentleman, Rod Martin, being from Los Angeles, went to the University of Southern California, and then he goes to the Raiders and plays in Oakland. Then he gets a chance to come back to LA when they moved to Los Angeles and playing for the home crowd. Marcus Allen was sort of the same situation, SC and the Los Angeles Raiders. But Rod, you got a chance to play for 2 Hall of Fame coaches in John Madden and Tom Flores. How fortunate were you then? Talk about those 2.
Ooh, great, man. I mean, they the ones that had me out there and seeing and literally what I could do out there. And it was good. It was good. And but I had a lot of teammates too with them. So I like to tell my team, come on here with me, But, other than that, man, this has been great. It's been great. I want you guys, maybe I'll get one of you guys come out there and play with me too.
Oh. Hey, Fish, don't you think Rod could still strap it up and go out there?
Yeah, Rod could still strap it up. And if anyone's going to come out and play with him, it's me. If Brad's coming out, he's just getting all the stuff you serve at halftime. The meals after the game. He's not. I think Brad's still running the 40 right now, Rod.
Great.
Oh, Rod.
So, go ahead, Brad.
Rod, what are you doing now in your life? You work with the Raiders. What is the daily for Rod Martin?
Yes, I do some of the work for the Raiders. But I be going all around. Anybody wants some of the ride, and I laid it out for him,
I love it.
Sure did. Look at this, Brad. Look at this, Rod. Remember this? This is iconic. Whenever you can get your picture on the cover of Sports Illustrated, look at that. Look at that. 3 interceptions in a game, Brad. It's hard to get 3 interceptions in a season. Look how excited he is. Look at that look on his face, man.
Smile. Look at that big smile.
You were a wild card team that year, if you remember, 1980. Yeah. I'm part of a committee with the Raiders trying to get not only you more accolades, Rod, but why the hell is Jim Plunkett not in the Hall of Fame? Isn't that sad?
We all of us was always saying what we did. We're doing good, but we got some great players on the team. And I told him, I said, he's got to come down with us. And it be, and so we just came up as teammates and just went out to compete. And Plunkett was one of them. A great Plunkett.
Who was your best friend on the team?
My best friend?
Yeah, the closest guy. on the team?
Let me see. Let's see. It's tough to find out right now.
You know who is my favorite next to you? My favorite player, Todd Christensen.
Todd,
Yeah,
great for sure.
he's
Yeah.
a good guy. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine was Kenny the Snake Stabler.
Yes.
My dad, Rod, rest in peace. I'm like 12 years old, 1972, and he says to me, "Hey, kid, come here. Look at this guy on the sideline." And I think the Raiders are beating the crap out of the Browns 38-7. And Stabler's standing on the sideline. He's got a cigarette in one hand and a Coors in the other. You know?
Oh, God,
If they did that nowadays, Rod, they'd throw him in jail. But that's what my dad said. That's a cool cat. We got to follow this team.
Your dad did a good thing.
Oh, he did good things. So being part of the Raider Nation, that you saw the great crowds in Oakland and Los Angeles. How do we build it up at Allegiant? Because if you've been to a game in Allegiant, the Raider Nation is there. It's proud. It's plentiful. But there's a lot of fans of the other team. So we need you to go into that locker room before the first game against Pittsburgh in a few weeks and give them the Rod Martin this. Give them
That's
that
right.
look right there.
There
Okay?
we go.
That's
And
right.
let's get these guys motivated. And let's get more Raider fans in that stadium. I'm excited about this season. What about you, Rod?
I'm excited too. I'm doing like it's supposed to be done. So yeah, it's gonna be great. I'm so happy. I'm happy, man. I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be ready.
Good. Well, I know you could strap it on right now. They might need you. If they had Brad, you know the history of the Raiders, the will to win, pride in poise, all the things that this great guy heard from Mr. Al Davis. What did Al Davis mean to you in your life, Rod?
Oh, he was the best. He was the best. We had a time player with one of those teams, and we had played against them again, and it was the Raiders were giving me the time to go and get these guys. That was with the 40 whiners, we call them. But we call them 40 whiners. But it was him and Matt. Those two came out, man. And after we knocked those other people out, and Jaws came up early with this group of people, and that's where it all started, And he respected us. And how we played the game, and I was happy, and all my teammates was happy, and you guys,
Like father, like son.
Yeah.
I hear that Mark Davis is an amazing guy, and a buddy of mine is a Uber driver in Vegas, and he picked Mark up from his favorite Italian restaurant, and only took him a short distance, $50. $50.
Yep.
Just win, baby, just win. I mean, and my buddy, was like, Mark Davis was just in my car. What a great guy. So
he is. He's all around Vegas. I'm in Vegas. I live in Vegas, Rod. And what he's done, what Mr. Davis has done for the Clark County School District with feeding kids, because of Davis and the Raiders, that every kid that's in elementary school, my wife teaches, the whole school district, they get a free breakfast and a free lunch so kids don't go hungry. And that's what the Raiders are all about. Because like you, Rod, the Raiders have a great motto. Once a Raider, always a Raider. And Mr. Davis and his son takes care of Raiders. Talk to me about Lyle Alzado, because I know he was there a short time, Rod. But Mr. Davis, Al Davis, took care of him when he got sick, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He did. And that pimped us up and made us, make sure that we do the right thing. And when the coaches were there, we were there waiting for the coach, ready to go. And,
it's a true family. It's a true family.
True, definitely.
Do you are you in any golf tournaments? You play golf with the Raiders? I know Marcus is out here golfing all the time, and any of your old teammates, you come out to Vegas and golf?
Oh yeah, come out sometime. I just be looking mostly.
Well, we got to get you into my restaurant, Shuck's Tavern, up in North Las Vegas, where I work. Get you and Brad up there. Bring your wife, and I'll feed you. It's going to be on the Raiders, and we'll feed you. You like seafood, Rod?
Yes, for
Well,
sure.
you're going to see a lot of food. You're going to eat it, because if you don't eat it, Brad will.
Wait a minute. Wait, is this a free meal? I never
Free
turned
meal,
down a
baby.
free meal. Wait a minute, I'm on my way. Rod, I'll see you there tonight.
Rod, use the Raider jet. Rod, talk about playing in Oakland, because the Raiders started there. They came to LA. You played in Los Angeles. It was a great experience, but they went back to Oakland, and I truly felt such an ambiance and a great fanfare from that fan base that still supports the Raiders, even though they moved to Las Vegas. Talk about your time in Oakland.
It was the same kind of way. Every time we got big plays being put on the field, and I was really a man to do it, to just tell everybody what to do, and I was doing it, and it was so great for me to do this, and my teammates was just coming after other people just like I asked them to do it. They were great, and it was awesome. Great, just win, baby. That was it. That was it, man. And,
Rod, I have a question about after the game. When you're tired, you're sweaty, you're bleeding, you go in the locker room and these reporters come in, right? And they ask you every question, every which way, but to Sunday. But did they allow women reporters in when you played?
outside the game, I mean, yes.
No, when you're in the locker room after the game, you're going to take a shower, you're going to go home, but you're taking off your uniform. These reporters come in and they start asking you questions, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Were there women reporters? Because if I was trying to, I want to know if one of these women reporters, took a little, a little look at the junk, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Rod Martin is known for his package. That's what I've heard.
That's right. That's
My
right.
package is like a turtle, where the head goes in the shell and you can't find it. I got a very little peepee, but I just wondered, were there women reporters in there?
Oh, not many.
Not
Because
many.
we had to go and go to work.
Yeah.
We were all content to play hard, and that's what gave me the
That's amazing.
boy.
You got some great pictures in the background there. Great pictures. I can see some of the pictures and your jerseys back there.
Yeah,
And the memories you have in playing with this iconic organization, you'll take with you to in 30 years from now when we say goodbye. But I have to say this, Rod, being a lifelong Raider fan, and this is in your blood. I told you, my dad in 1972.
yes.
I met Rod, Brad, in the same place I met you. Rod used to come into Mom's Saloon in Brentwood when he was a player with a lot of the Raiders, and you judge as a bartender how a guy tips. And Rod, if he had $50 to his name, he gave $45 to the bartender and $5 for the drinks. And that just shows a lot of class. You came in with Marcus and Dokie Williams. I remember all the Raiders. Todd Christensen came in, and it's a lot of fun. I know it goes back a long way, but I get a chance to interview a guy that I met when I was in my 20s that played on the team. It means a lot.
Yes, thank you, man. Thank you. But you guys, like I'm ready to say, you guys, I saw you last time, but you guys was going out there too, and I said, to myself, these guys coming out here to see what we're gonna do. We're gonna play, and we're gonna go out there and knock around, and that was at the beginning of Madden in Florida. And it was, and when Jaws came back, it was all over.
Rod, you put a lot of smiles on a lot of people's faces, and you're just one amazing guy and one amazing athlete. And by the way, have you gotten a restraining order against Fish? You know, this is a little too much for me. I mean, Rod, you're a legend, but Fish really loves you, man. I'm telling you. Even before the show, he was telling me all great stories about you and stuff.
Sure. He like this guy right here, Bruce L. Frank. Fight on. Rod signed a couple of great photos for me back in the day. Obviously, one as a Trojan and one as a Raider, and how this man has handled himself outside of football and afterwards says a lot, you know. And I've heard a lot of great things about Rod. No, I'm not here to, you know, I'm not kissing up, but hey, we're one nation. This organization, he'll tell you, treats its fans as family. Am I right, Rod?
That's right. That's right, for sure.
Right.
Again, and I knew where to go because I was the captain. So go get him.
Right.
Tell him come where to go.
Well, Rod, we can't thank you enough for coming on.
I have one more question for Rod. Rod, what would you tell your younger self? You've had an incredible career, three interceptions in a Super Bowl that will never be touched. What would you tell a younger player coming up there, you know, having a dream about, you know, playing in the NFL one day? What would you tell your younger self? Anything different? Would you do anything different?
Yeah, I go out there and tell my teammates, you know, what we did in the past time. And then we come out again as it was again. So, I mean, if we just get one of these after the people.
I love it. Look at that fish. Oh my goodness.
Look at that ring. Look at the ring, Brad. That's a Super Bowl ring.
Look at that bling. Oh, Rod, you are 2 Super Bowls. We are so lucky to have you on the show. You're amazing.
You guys came and taught me a lot of stuff too, and I appreciate it. I love you.
We appreciate you, Rod.
Love you too, man. You're always welcome in Fat Fish. You're always welcome in Vegas. I'm going to talk to a couple of people in the Raiders that know you and let you know where I'm at.
Okay.
I know JT the Brick knows you really well, the guy who's a big radio host for the Raiders and some other people. So we'll get Brad out too. And we'll feed you first, Rod, because and we'll feed your wife. Tell your wife thank you for helping with.
Yes.
Thank you, Rod.
No, we just lost you. Rod, put your wife on.
Oh,
put your wife on. Let's say hi to her.
Your beautiful wife.
Huh?
Get your wife on. I want to say hi to her. Is she out there?
Yeah, bring her on. Your beautiful wife.
Good morning, guys.
There she is.
Thank you so much. This is Fish. This is Brad. I'm the one you've been talking to.
Oh, awesome.
We love your husband. We love you more.
Holy moly, Rod. Look at your wife. She's beautiful. Oh, you married up, Rod. You married up. Wow.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you see all of this?
Yes, they saw
Yes.
Yeah.
We saw everything during the show.
Yeah, we did. Rod, thank you so much for coming on. We'll have you on again. And may your enthusiasm and the history of your team rub off on this team this year, because we're still 0-0 right now.
Absolutely.
We haven't lost.
Yeah.
Go Raiders.
And Rod, remember one thing: when we're at Chuck's Tavern, don't leave anything on your plate. Love you, Rod.
Thanks, Rod.
I'll see you soon.
My wife will be looking for you.
Oh, don't tell him that. Thanks,
God
Rod.
bless
Raider
you, Rod.
Nation.
Yes.
Raider Nation, baby.
For sure.
Thank you
So much,
you.
guys.
Thanks,
Bye,
fellas.
guys.
God bless you.
Bye.
God bless you.
Wow. Wowee zow.
You got to bring up your pee-pee and your package to a guy like
I
that.
had to, because
What are you talking about, man?
But when you're in the locker room,
Let me tell you something. You're going to compare your pee-pee to a guy like that that's a Super Bowl champion?
I know it's true.
You're a turtle? You still haven't come out of this show, you prick. Unbelievable. I love this. I love Brad.
I love you too, buddy. I had to ask you because when you're taking off your uniform and then, you put the towel around and, you turn around, answer some questions, some of these women reporters might take a glance at the junk, at the package.
You just wish you were a football player so it could happen to you,
I was the water boy. I was Adam Sandler, the water boy,
You were Adam Sandler water. If you played football, you'd be the guy that was in the locker room looking for a woman. You tell the cheerleaders, "Come on in right now. We're showering." You know, you'd have more restraining orders on you back in the '80s than Harvey Weinstein did.
Oh, God. You know,
Hey, I got to show you something, man.
Yeah,
First of all, how are you?
I'm doing better
so
now that we
excited
have
about-
Rod
let me
Martin
show
on
you
the
a couple.
show.
I got to show you something because I know you're not a big fan, but I got to show you something that really stood out to me before we ask you how your week was. I got a video of you. It's great. We have a lot of time to chop it up. Fat Fish Podcast. That's right, baby.
By the way, I wear this proud. People want some merch, and I just want to say this was designed by a very talented guy, Max Snyder. Do you know him? Oh yeah, that's your son, the better looking version of you.
Oh,
Thank you,
always.
Max. This is awesome. Look how great that looks, right?
And
Look
it
at
does.
that.
It does look great. You know, and it's. Let me see. I got a different. No, I got the same one. I got the
Yeah,
same one. Except
Just a
you're.
little different size.
You look great. You look handsome. I got pig. Oh my God, man! I'll tell you what, man.
How fun is that?
If you follow the Grunberg lineage on Facebook, there's constant pictures of his family, including his very talented brother Greg. And it's great to see. And before I continue to kiss your ass, it's great to see a family that gets out there and does things. There's no hermit status with the Grunbergs. Your sister, your mom, and dad are always living life, and that's what this show's about. Listen, look, this is the most famous mugshot, and I'm not gonna say I'm a fan or not because we have a lot of people on both sides. We don't do politics,
Right.
but this guy does that, right?
Right.
And
Who
he's
is that
made
again?
millions.
Wait, who is that? I'm sorry.
What?
Who is that?
That's a guy who has a peepee that's in a turtle too. But anyways, but I'll tell you what, he's got charisma. So I'll tell you what, this guy, that guy, the former president,
Yeah.
has put that mugshot, right? Listen to me.
Right.
And he's turned it into keychains, mugs, T-shirts, and it's made $12 million. Okay, good business move.
Wow.
But look at this mug. How do we take this mugshot and turn that into keychains? How the fuck? And I'm sorry, Raider Nation, and I'm gonna have to. How the fuck did you get away with that? Putting on a driver's license.
Well,
Look at that face.
Everybody doesn't like their license picture, so I went, beyond because I thought, God, if I ever get pulled over, so I've been pulled over twice. I give my license to the cop. He looks at it, starts laughing, and they hand it back to me, and they go, "Slow down, slow down." I go, "I have to live like this, officer. Look at me. I live in my parents' basement. I'm a virgin. I'm 50 years old. Help me. Please let me go." Oh, God. All right, slow down.
Hey, how many times go? So okay, so we saw what Trump did. We can't market what you did, but tell me how you just made me think of something in this feeble, mean, little-minded brain that I have. How many times have you talked yourself out of being arrested when you've been pulled over because of the shtick that you pull?
Well, I've had that picture in different versions over the last maybe 8 years, but believe it or not, one officer recognized me from an Adam Sandler film, and that got me out. Yeah, I think he saw That's My Boy, or I'm now pronouncing Chuck and Larry, and he goes, "That was hilarious. I love Adam Sandler." And then he said, "You should not have made that U-turn." I go, "Thank you, officer." And I'll tell Adam thank you too. So,
That's cool. That's cool. I haven't been that lucky.
I don't care.
But
I'm not into the acting and the comedy for people to recognize me, but it's so humbling when people come up to you and say, "Were you in this or were you in that?" So, I always tell them no. Talk to Eric Fish Snyder. He's been in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Pornos.
No,
Hey, I was in when Harry ate Sally and Gladiator and Forrest Humps. What do you want from me, man?
You were
I was
fantastic.
standing.
You were fantastic in Rambone. That was amazing. Oh.
Well, one thing I'm gifted, and I don't want to brag, is there's no turtles in the shell. Anyways, remember this. One of the things we get on the feedback we get on Fat Fish with Brad and Fish is nostalgia. This is something Brad and I did. I remember Brad's going to tell me a story about his favorite place he did this, and I'll tell him mine. Wait a minute, get that. There you go.
Sure.
You remember flipping through records at the record store? Remember how excited you were when you can go to the mall, Brad? Tell me about your forays in the record stores.
My favorite music is late 70s, early 80s. That's my genre. And I used to go to Tower Records. That was my place, and I used to, flip through all the vinyls, looking for my favorite stuff and albums and all that great stuff. And I'd go home and put it on my on my turntable and just, sit there and listen and, kind of rock me to sleep, And I love, that's coming back. I just met a DJ. He's only using vinyls now. It's very interesting, no digital, all vinyl. So a lot of these DJs are going back, they're going old school, which I like.
Right, and it's great. You're right. I went to the Tower Records on Sunset a lot, which was very, very popular. A lot of movies over there off Sunset, and I want to say Clark, but on the famous Sunset Strip across from the Viper Room, which was the Central. So I'm giving you a little bit of landmarks to point where the Tower Records is. But I love going to the mall. One of the greatest scenes. I can't believe you weren't in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, because there were so many shots in that shirt. Now, you lived in the city, and I went to high school in the Valley.
Right.
So the Sherman Oaks Galleria, where they filmed that, they filmed a lot of that in the was it Tower Records or another record store? But it was great because that was a place you met people. You did.
It was great. I know everything about the movie. They filmed that when the mall closed. So they filmed it from like 7 to 7 in the morning. That's when they filmed all the stuff in the mall. They brought in the background artists and all that stuff. Perry's Pizza. Was that classic? Right?
Well, Perry's Pizza
was,
and it might still be, was iconic on Santa Monica Beach, going up to Will Rogers Beach. Remember I'm saying almost where every lifeguard tower was, there was a Perry's Pizza. You can get a slice of pizza for 50 cents and a Coke for 75 cents. And it was a look at Brad's mouthwater. It was a deep dish pizza. Remember that? Brad, did you ever go to the beach?
70s, 80s. No, I'll tell you, Fast Times was so good. It stands the test of time. We have young viewers, get and watch Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Great story. I was coming back from basketball practice from Uni High, and I came up Barrington to San Vicente, and right on the corner, it's now I think it's a coffee bean, a coffee house. But I saw all these trucks, and I said, "What do you got?" I talked to the crew guy. I go, "What are you filming?" He goes, "Fast Times at Ridgemont High." I go, "What's that?" He goes, "You'll know." I go, "Who's that star?" He goes, "Sean Penn." I go, "Wait a minute, Sean Penn? Who's that?" He goes, "Oh, you'll know." And guess what? I know. Incredible, Mr. Hand. I mean, that was on the corner. That was All American Burger, where Judge Reinhold worked. Brad Hamilton, he played Brad Hamilton, and Nicolas Cage was there. He was a cook behind in the kitchen. Oh my God, it's so great, and one of the best.
We might have filmed something over there, but
I know
Nicolas Cage wasn't Cage. If you look at the credits, it was Nicholas Coppola. The same year, he releases a film with a very good friend of the show, Heidi Holliker, called Valley Girl, which is really what we grew up with, about girls from the Valley fall in love with these two Hollywood kids that grew up in Hollywood. And that film stood up to me. I love that film because it was a good caricature of what we grew up with in the 70s in LA. But you're right. Fast Times at Ridgemont High had everything. And you think about, I saw a Variety critique of that film. And it said the guy that played Damone, I think his name is Robert Romanus, is an absolute star in the making.
Yes.
And Sean Penn is just the same, a caricature. And poor Romanus, I don't know what happened to the guy.
Damone, I want to have him on the show. He's on my Facebook. He was so great in that movie. Oh, as Damone.
What happened to him? Because he was so. This is the new up and coming star, and he was a great actor in that movie.
Yeah, no, he's
and Penn was kind of panned, and Penn went on to Penn. What happened to Damone?
That's how things work in life. Just because you're in a great movie and a great part, it could go to somebody who had a very small part. You never know. Luck and timing is what life's all about, Chris. You know that.
Right.
And I've bumped into Robert at auditions, and what a nice guy. I would love to have him on the show. He does a lot of the conventions and all that stuff. He signs pictures. It's he's great. I love the character actors because that's what I am, a character actor.
There's a scene in that film for our younger actors with a guy named Mark Ratner, who was the assistant to the assistant manager of the movie theater. Yeah. That had to be you, because that scene when he takes Jennifer, Jennifer Jason Leigh, who's a star. He takes her home to her house, and he goes, "My parents are out of town, and my brother's working and on a sleepover," and he just sits there and he's getting ready to make out, And he looks at her and he says, I got to go. My sister wants her car back. I said, if Brad got that part, there's no way that scene's not ending with either eating with her naked on the bed. We would have written that scene to have you starring it. That was
out of the pool. How about Phoebe Cates? I use that in some of my bits where she goes, "Hi, Brad. You know how cute I always thought you were." I think she's talking to me, right?
And did you do a Judge Reinhold? I don't want to give it away, but that was one of the funniest scenes in movie history with Judge Reinhold. I'll just give it away. Like I said, Judge Reinhold goes in the bathroom because he's fantasizing that, and he's jerking off. And she goes in to get a Q-tip and goes, "Oh my God!"
What he's doing. He goes, "Don't you knock anymore?"
Doesn't anybody fucking knock anymore?
Oh, so good.
Hey, before we do some Fat Fish Sports, because we're all excited now, we're getting into. I know you're excited about NBA training camp starting in 3 weeks, but we're talking about. I got a video of Brad at a party in Las Vegas, I got to show it. I got to ask you what happened at this party. We're not about piling on, but this guy is so humble in everything that he does. He's willing to make fun of himself. And if you're willing to make fun of yourself, as Rickles told him, or make fun of someone else, it's a compliment. Brad, just take us through this after I show you.
Slide.
We're going to show it again.
I love it.
You have the floor.
Well, they said that the slide would hold my weight. I said, "No, girls, I can't go on the slide." They begged me. And, I'm all about I'm a pleaser, right? So it took me about 20 minutes to climb those fucking stairs, okay, to get on the top of the slide. And then I slid down and you saw what happened. It was crazy. It was nuts.
I'm dying here. Wait. It took me 20 minutes to climb the stairs. I'm schwitzing.
It's true, but I've lost a couple LBs since that, and but I still, listen. I want to tell something. You have to love yourself, okay? And this is very important for our listeners and viewers. If you're fat, you're skinny, you're ugly, it doesn't matter. Just be you. And that's what I have done all my life. I'll give you. So when I did Curb Your Enthusiasm, Fish, I asked Larry David, we did the first scene on the bed when I crashed through the roof. And I asked him, "Larry, why did I get the part?" And he goes, "You were," I'm going to quote him exactly. He goes, "You were comfortable in your skin." And I go, like Gleason, like John Candy? He goes, "Exactly. I was comfortable as a fat guy." And that's why he liked me and he wanted me. Because the scene is I'm the roofer, I'm going to fix the leak in his roof. And he goes, "You're not going up there." And I'm just me, man. I'm just me. This is how I was born. I'm trying to get in better shape. But I'm a fat guy. That's why we call ourselves Fat Fish, baby.
No, we don't call ourselves Fat Fish because you're fat. Because we're fat on life and fish. You're not fat. You are
husky.
just
I'm husky.
You're just a big man that's full of love. We're gonna go to a meme. We're gonna talk some sports, and we got some other stuff to chop it up about.
Yeah, let's do it, baby.
One thing about being a Raider fan is there's two iconic teams that take a lot of shit and give, as far as you love them or hate them, and it's the Raiders and Cowboys. Read this.
Stop crying. The game hasn't even started yet. I love it. The Cowboys fan, they know they're going to lose to the Raiders. That's great. So, look at those two
stuff. I can't get over you on that slide. That's great, man. That is, have you ever gotten have you ever gotten a sympathy laid? Have you gotten laid because of a sympathy? Like, everyone's laughing at this guy. I'm just going to throw myself at Brad because he's a big blanket in the wintertime.
I do remember this. I remember this girl I met on, it was called the Jewish Journal. Kind of like J-Date, okay? And I met this girl. She was adorable. She was adorable.
The Jewish Journal.
It's true. And they had all the ads in, the personals. And I saw one girl. I put mine in, and I said, "I love the Brady Bunch and the Partridge Family." Then she called me, and we went out, and we started dating. And we're having sex, and we're having really good sex. And all of a sudden, she stops, right? And I'm, and she's like, "Stop." She goes, "I can't do this anymore because you're too fat." We're naked, And I said, but you're enjoying it. I am fat, but my turtle came out and you're screaming and having a good time. She goes, no, it's hard for me. Your fat is pushing against my belly. And I go, oh, okay. So I kind of got up, put my clothes on and left, and that was it. But that stuff happens. Listen, I'm not Brad Pitt. I have better abs than Brad Pitt. My name is Brad. But these are the things in life. I mean, what am I going to do? Crawl under the bed? I was depressed, yeah, a little bit, but you know what? I just moved on. That's life.
I wanted a happier ending because I thought you were going somewhere. But the only happier ending I'm going to get from you is you probably paying for a happy ending.
Well, after that, my happy ending was Jack in the Box, number 5. I had two. Okay.
Oh, okay. We're unscripted here.
Yeah.
Jack in the Box. What's a better taco when you're drunk? Jack in the Box or Taco Bell? You go first.
Oh my gosh, that's a great. I think people like Jack in the Box because it's more inexpensive. I have a buddy who comes in from Michigan, and every time he comes to LA or when we were in Arizona, he goes for the 2-for-1 tacos for like $1.50. He loves and another guy, my buddy, because they don't Jack in the Boxes in the United States, only I think on the West Coast. Those tacos are good, but I love Taco Bell too. What are you talking about? I love everything. Really. Jesus Christ.
I love Taco Bell. But Jack in the Box, there's something about the meat and the grease in that taco.
Yeah.
That is,
the grease. The cheese melted.
It's so good.
Mom,
two iconic.
Jack in the Box, Grubhub. 6 of them. Make it 8. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Send some to fish. 2 iconic. You got me on a whole different tangent. I was going somewhere else. 2 iconic, and you remember both of these, and one's still alive in Los Angeles. 2 iconic hot dog joints. Do you remember Tail of the Pup?
Yes, they brought it back.
Pink's.
Yes.
Oh my! Tail of the Pup. Every
good.
hot dog had the onions on them, right? And they had that Nathan's hot dog crunch to it.
Yep.
Oh my God, I'm getting a boner. And then
bite and the crunch. Yeah, I like them
Pink's.
both. Yeah, surprisingly, I like them both. But Pink's has been on La Brea and Melrose for I think like 65, 70 years. It used to be a little cart on the sidewalk, and then the owners they own the land and everything. There's always a line down the block for Pink's. And then Tail of the Pup, it went away. They put that little pup in storage, and they just brought it back. Somebody rebooted the whole thing, and I think they're in West Hollywood somewhere. Both places. I'm taking you to both places when you come to LA. Okay.
Let's go. Because you know what? I should be more worldly. I'm a moron. I have never eaten at Pink's hot dogs. Is that sad?
But
never.
They brought it to Vegas. I think.
I never had it at Vegas. Every time I went to Pink's hot dogs, and I tried.
You never had a Pink's hot dog.
Never. You know why? I have no patience. I got there at 10 o'clock in the morning when it opened up, and the line was 50 deep. I'm hungry. Okay. That you tell the audience of the line. I know we're doing a great promo for Pink's hot dogs right here in LA, but tell them what the line's like. It's crazy.
It winds around, but there's like an overhang now. But I'm telling you, at 10:30 there's a line, right? I mean, there's a line for hours. I have to say, the staff is amazing. They get in and out really fast, kind of like Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out Burger. I've never been to those places. But it's LA iconic food. But Pink's hot dogs, I want them to name a hot dog after me or after Fat Fish. Wouldn't that be great? The Fat
Fish hot dog. A hot dog with salmon on top. Lox. Oh, that'd be great.
That would be great.
Imagine
lox,
that.
Onions.
You cook it, the little lox on top of the hot dog with onions, peppers. Yeah. How about this? Little capers, a little whitefish, a little mustard and ketchup.
I like that.
Yeah, whitefish and fat fish. It's great.
Do it.
Hey, right now we're doing a.
By the way, you know that other project we're working on? We might have to have the Fat Fish hot dog there. What do you think?
Yeah, I love hot dogs. When we put on the menu at Shucks to do for football season, which is coming up, we're going to segue into football in a second. Hot dogs are huge on football menus for bars, and the way my guys do it at this place, I know I kiss their ass, but I love it. All right, 'Cause I love this place. That's Chuck's Tavern, North Durango. This
It's
guy
great.
gets comped there when he comes in. He's not that big of a gambler other than trying to get the hookers. Anyways,
Oh, it's so
the
good there.
hot dog, the different hot dogs they put on there, to Frank and Josh and Steve and Bob and the staff and all the cooks that do it, they're so creative. But a good hot dog is just, I mean, I had people that walk with me Chicago dog. They cut in and they cut the hot dog in half and stuff it with either stuffing, the stuffed shrimp stuff they put inside the hot dog. It's unbelievable. Now we could do a whole
And you know,
food show right now, but then you'd have a heart attack.
the make of a good hot dog. Sometimes, like when I go to Dodger Stadium, you know, Farmer John Franks, they don't have it anymore. They went to another company. But I could just have a foot long plain. It was great. I didn't need anything on top.
Oh, it's
That's
great.
what she said. Anyway,
Yeah, they know that's great. Yeah, we talked about Vince Scully in the past show. That it was great, the Farmer John, but those foot long hot dogs at Dodger Stadium were terrific. They still are. I guarantee they still are.
They're still good. By the way, did you catch my joke? I didn't need anything on top. That's what she said.
Well, the last time we talked about a girl,
Didn't go over well.
the last time you just
Yeah.
talked about a girl 12 minutes ago, maybe in the show, you had a lot on top and too much hot dog on top. That was
We
a
go
bad.
back to the locker room.
That was a
Let's
bad
talk about the
story.
Raider locker room. I'm sorry.
That was a sad story about the girl. You know, the good thing for you is you had enough charm to get her naked, and then the fact that you were with the girl and she was naked was enough for you to
I
go
was brilliant.
to Jack in the Box and get five tacos, 2 jumbo jacks, 3 chocolate shakes, and then I know Brad. Brad walks in a restaurant and buys for him. What do you want? You know,
I just no. Listen, it happened, but listen. What am I going to do? I mean, listen. I had fun. We laughed a lot. We dated for maybe 2 months. It happens. Come on, you move on in life. Life is short, right?
yes.
Life is short. You move on. You do bigger things. You learn from your mistakes. You learn from situations. I learned a lot from that. You know, I'm looking for a girl, not by looks. I want to see somebody that I can laugh with. I can make laugh. That's
Sure.
what it's all about. So I ask people, why Eric Fish Snyder, Vicky? Why? You know why? Because he made me laugh.
Yeah.
Not because he has a great ass.
Oh, stop with that.
No,
Stop with the
you-
butts and
that's
stop.
what
No
you're
one wants to
asking.
hear you and
show
your
me pictures.
Yeah, I think sometimes we have to question. I think that we should start doing things for different communities. I question how much. I think that I really believe this, that if you can make a man laugh, okay, you and Chad or whoever you meet could have a nice life together. It'd be great, you know, just holding hands, going to San Francisco 49er football games, hanging out with Megan Rapinoe, you know, doing your things. I think your future, man, might be with someone that has something that sticks out of the shell other than a turtle.
Wait. Are you saying that I'm going to play for the other team?
I think you should. You know what? You are a giver. Who cares?
I love I'm straight, but I love everybody. You know,
Who cares?
one thing that I don't understand about this world is this. First of all, this horrible tragedy. This woman had a pride flag outside her business.
Oh,
And this I have to say it, motherfucking loser piece of shit comes to the store, tears it down, and then kills her. And you know what she did? She was a mother. She was a wife. She was a wonderful person. She was all about love. Other people had taken that flag down. She came back with a bigger flag.
9 kids.
Yeah.
9 kids. I've never understood why anyone should give a shit about who you date, who you sleep with. That's between you and that other person. If they make you happy, that's what it's all about. That's the problem we have in this world. Who are you to make a statement or put your religious values or what you think on somebody else? Last I looked, the Constitution said it's freedom, and you're free to choose who you want to be with. All I'm saying about you is if someone else on the other team made you happy, it's okay with me. Okay, I still love you. Okay.
I get a lot of. Oh, by the way, online I get a lot of guys. They're called chubby chasers.
We talked about this, but go
Yeah,
ahead, tell our new viewers.
But people don't understand something about love and being straight or gay. You're born who you are. Okay. I have a lot of friends that are gay, and you know what? They look at me. They go, "It's not it's not an easy life." I was born this way. And I love people who are gay, straight, bi, whatever. Who gives a fuck? Just leave everybody the fuck alone and love, okay?
I'm with you 1,000%. I remember I was in a bar. I was in a bar in West Hollywood called Sloan's. And they're having the gay pride parade. I didn't even know it. I was drunk with Dave Brown, rest in peace. All right. A few other people and lady, we're getting drunk. It's a Sunday afternoon. Here comes all these hordes and hordes of men walking down the street with the signs. It's Gay Pride Week, and they're having their parade. And there was a guy with this, I won't mention his name, Steve, and he says, look at all these FAGGO. And I said, what the fuck is wrong with you? He goes, why do you care? And I turned to him and I said this one line, who cares? Look how these gorgeous guys are walking down the street. The more of them means more women for us. He goes, he was from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. He goes, I never thought about that, Fish. Well, now think about it. Who cares? Every one of those good-looking guys that women's mouths in this bar are dropping for don't give a shit about these women. We're in.
Lenny Clark. Do you know Lenny Clark, the comedian? He's a
buddy
of mine. Boston born, great guy. He's a legend in Boston. So he had one of the great jokes. He goes, you know what? I needed a ride, so I blew a guy to get a ride. And then he goes, all right, I didn't need the ride. You know, and it's just so fun. And he's been telling this joke for 40 years, okay? Who gives a fuck, right? He blew a guy for a ride, he didn't need the ride. But it's a joke. He's a straight guy too. But again, you make fun of yourself. I make fun of gay people. I make fun of straight people. I make fun of fat people. I make fun of skinny people. I make fun of you. I make fun of myself. I make fun of everybody. Can't we just fucking chill out?
Exactly. I you know what? That's why I do this show with you, because we could open up and say these things and make fun of each other, my hair, my stupid glasses, and my whatever we do. I could care less because we're safe in our skin. What you said earlier. The Raider Nation, the Raider organization, has the greatest diversification of any organization. First to have an Hispanic coach, a black coach, more minorities in an organization, because you know what? They don't give a fuck. They hire you and they look at you as a collective human. That's all you are. Can you make me succeed? And that's what's great about the Davis family. And that's why the Raider family, like we're trying to talk about right now, is so great in bringing people together. If we could do that, if we could turn one person and say, why are you so angered? What do you care who someone dates or someone talks to or someone's married to? Gives a shit. That long, you're not paying, they're not paying your bills. You're not paying theirs.
Right.
But I'll tell you what does pay the bills, and we hope pays the bills. The National Football League. And I say this in every show, and we're going to really bring it up. We have a huge NBA audience listening wise on Podbean. Thank you, Podbean, for being such a huge supporter of this. Thank you for helping us, because there's no money coming in. Brad had to give up all his vouchers for Jack in the Box to get these T-shirts made. That being said, NBA, we're going to go to Brad. NFL.
But let me ask you this question before you go on. I want to talk Hard Knocks, HBO, before we get into football. What do you think? I'm really enjoying it.
Love it.
Aaron Rodgers, I couldn't stand him. I have respect for him. He is funny. He goofs on himself. I mean, how well is that show done?
It's done so well that we have a friend of the show, Little Farley, Aiden Minks, who's on Cobra Kai. If you watch the last episode, Ralph Macchio comes out and talks to the team. Did you see the last episode?
Yes.
And he goes, that New York accent, he goes, I come to this and I'm the biggest Jets fan and I'm so freaking excited. And you hear Rodgers or one of the guys say the word. He goes, all right, what the fuck do you want me to do? I'm so fucking excited. It was so great. And that was not scripted, I found out. That was just...
No, that's not scripted. No. You know what I love? I would love him to just start doing wax on, wax off, do a little Mr. Miyagi. But wasn't that fantastic? Ralph Macchio walked out. That's the great thing about it. Any sport, but especially football, people, you never know. Like, for instance, we had Kelly on. Kelly loves fantasy football. Remember? We talked about fantasy football. She loves her Cleveland Browns. She loves, you never know the walk of life that loves football.
Kelly was great. Huge.
Back to that again. It doesn't matter who you are. People love sports, and people love the National Football League.
And with that, I could be quite boring, but Brad and I asked Brad, we're gonna make our Super Bowl predictions today. And it's real simple. We picked two teams, one from the NFC and one from the AFC. Brad's gonna go first. And when he told me what his team, the first team he was, I said, save it for the show, because I'm opposite. So Brad, be as that it may, take your aficionado, your Nostradamus hat on. Who's going to the Super Bowl that's going to be played in Las Vegas in 2024 in February at Allegiant Stadium?
It's going to be from the AFC, the Buffalo Bills. Yes. And from the NFC, I think it's going to be San Francisco Giants, San Francisco 49ers.
Wow.
That's my prediction.
San Francisco they traded they give up 3 number ones to get Trey Lance. They just traded him to Dallas for a 4th round pick. So Brock Purdy, Mr. Relevance, going to be their quarterback. And I think you're going on a limb with that one. Right. Buffalo, not so. I think that's a great pick because the window's closing. They have a lot of talent. Von Miller, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. I'm boring. I'm not going to get a girl to kick me out of bed because my stomach's on top of her. That boring. But boring in my selection.
Who'd that happen to?
Who? John Candy. Anyways, you're playing the role. Your favorite actor.
Yes.
I'm boring. I'm going with the repeat of last year. I like the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC and the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC, Bradley.
Wow.
Because I love Jalen Hurts and I love Patrick Mahomes. I just think these are two just wonderful human beings that are wonderful quarterbacks. And we love sports because, like you, when we watch you fall through a roof, it entertains us. And these two quarterbacks entertain me just like I got entertained by Kenny Stabler with the Raiders and Jim Plunkett with the Raiders. By the way, get Jim Plunkett in the fucking Hall of Fame if you're watching Raider Nation. All the guys in the Raiders jump on that bandwagon. I love Kansas City. I love Philadelphia. The season starts in 13 days.
Okay.
We wish health to everyone in the National Football League because injuries are so common. No head injuries. No, we give a lot of props out to Damar Hamlin of your Buffalo Bills, that poor kid who almost lost his life on the field. Now he's playing again.
Hero. God.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Before we get out of here, I'll do this week. We're going to do this every week. Molly's challenge. Okay. Quit bullying. We'll show you the sign right now. We're not going to make a big speech about it. Brad, I'll say this and Brad will say it too. Quit bullying. Say 10 nice things to somebody every day. Right, Brad?
Absolutely. Molly is the sweetest girl. She's in heaven now and she's smiling. She wants everybody to say something nice to a stranger every day because that's what life's about. We miss you, Molly Klein. We'll never forget you.
Right. On that note, having this guy on the show today, it talks about having that on, Brad.
Let's recap with Rod Martin.
Rod Martin. He comes into Mom's Saloon. I'll give you 30 seconds. Comes into Mom's Saloon with Dopey Wayne.
Take your time. I got all day.
Well, you're gonna take us out of the show, but this Fat Fish 25. He comes in the bar, and I recognize him. You know, and I'm not starstruck of all the people I've dealt with in that bar. He comes in, right? He's got a hat on backwards, which really wasn't the look back then.
Yeah, but you got to tell our viewers and listeners, you and your uncle started Mom's Saloon.
Well, my uncle started Mom's Saloon with Brittany Archer's dad. And who knew that would be just a place where all the actors and athletes shows up, and I know he is, you know, and he orders for him and a few other Raiders and stuff like that. And the bill, you paid as you went along. And back then, drinks were $3. So I think the bill on his round of drinks was $28. And he threw me $100 and said, "Keep it. Remember me." I go, "Remember you?" He goes, "Remember you?" I go, I always have a great line I say to people. And I even said it back then when I was 24 or 25. I said, "Thank you for letting me grow up with you and entertaining me," you know, like that. And, you know, we get a chance to interview him 40 years later. And sports, like I said, sports and what you do, I'll give you the final word on this. When sports and what you do as an actor, I say this every podcast for our new listeners and viewers, you entertain people. And in a world with such anger and strife, and gun violence and stupid shit happening everywhere, when you could put a smile on someone's face, What's so fucking wrong about that?
I'm telling you, we need more love in the world. Yesterday, this asshole, another monster, went into a dollar store and killed black people. Who the fuck? What? Life is colorless. It's a rainbow of people, you piece of shit. And also he had a swastika on his gun. He hated Jews. He hated it. 21 years old. Where the fuck is his parents? And thank God he turned the gun on himself and got rid of him. But these poor people just shopping, doing nothing but living their lives. Leave everybody the fuck alone. Love. Listen to Molly. Say something nice to somebody today. So that's it, man. 25 is in the books. Thank you, Rod Martin. Thank you, Eric Schneider. We'll see you next week on Fat Fish. I'm Brad Grunny Grunberg, a.k.a. Snacks. And I need some now. I'm hungry. Love you, Fish.
Love you, too. You know, buddy, I think Jack in the Box